Hello YouTube, this is Kevin from Keith Kevin Ken, and today we're going to look at a bunch of Spyderco knives. The product guide for 2016 just came out. I'll tell you, this is about the future releases from Spyderco, but we're not going to leaf through the catalog. We're going to talk about the past and about the present. Every single year since I started collecting Spydercos, I get a catalog, they talk about what's coming out, and then mid-year they give you a mid-year supplement which talks about a whole bunch of limited Spydercos and other knives that are in production but didn't make the catalog because it takes some time to do a 4-color catalog. But even after that, I always get surprised with a knife or two. This year, it seems like it's a little different. Yes, we have a catalog. I'm sure we're going to have in the middle of the year another supplement to that catalog. But this time at SHOT Show, I wasn't there, but I always watch YouTube coverage of it. You have got to go to YouTube and go to YouTube. You're on YouTube now. Wait until after this, then find Spyderco SHOT Show 2016, because Eric Glasser, the son of Sal Glasser, both of them the owners of Spyderco, really spent some time talking about all of these surprise knives. They are updating a bunch of knives that I'm shocked that they're updating already, but I can't wait. Now's the time to start saving the dollars because this is going to be an epic year for Spyderco. Obviously, I can't show you all the new knives. I can show you the older knives that will be updated. So we're going to caress and love knives like we do here on the Keith Kevin Ken channel and talk about what we can expect later. And then go take a look at some of these prototypes that he trotted out during SHOT Show. I'm excited about Spyderco. I'm a Spyderco fanatic, but man, this is going to be one great year. So, right here, you might be familiar with the Bob Lum Chinese folder. This is the medium-sized folder. This was also a sprint run. You're going to hear the phrase sprint run a lot. If you're not familiar with Spyderco, what Spyderco does, they have production runs, and that's where they go thousands, tens of thousands of knives, like every other production company. And then every year, they do a number of limited runs. They call them sprint runs because they're real fast. They're here, and then after they're sold out, they're gone. Sprint runs usually are 1,000 knives or less. So you'll hear me talk about sprint runs. This was the Bob Lum Chinese folder, VG10 steel, the great knife maker from Japan, Bob Lum, who passed away. Collaborated with Spyderco on this. This is the medium folder. Really wonderful with the liner lock. This is the sprint run of the medium folder with the Nishizen scales. Nishizen scales are interesting. They're glass fiber, and then they put this kind of, it feels like glass, like a plastic glass over it. So it's very smooth, very beautiful. The pattern of the Nishizen, any Nishizen handle, the pattern comes from Japan. It's a specific kimono pattern. So this is a beautiful one. It makes this a nice gentleman's folder. But the reason I have a Lum folder out here, Chinese folder, because he just announced, now he has a larger one, has been in production as well. So there's a larger Lum folder, probably this big, that I don't own. I need to own it so I can get a complete set. They are coming out with the little Chinese folder, the little Bob Lum. So they're going to come out with a smaller Bob Lum folder, about the size of, a little bit bigger when it's open than the handle of this one. It's going to be beautiful. They always do that, it seems. They take a Spyderco from the beginning, takes a large knife or a medium-sized knife and then come in with different versions, smaller, bigger, taller, better blades, better scales. So look for in 2016 a small version of this, the little Lum, the little Bob Lum Chinese folder. Bob Lum gave them, as Eric said, the design for the big, medium, and small folder, but they didn't do the small. They went back into their files, got that design after he had passed away, and now we'll see a little one. Yes, this is the Native. Obviously, the Native has gone way back. It's one of the classic Spyderco knives. There are a lot of variations. This right here is the titanium fluted version. Can you see that? I know it plays with light. Oh man, it's so beautiful. This is the Native, a special sprint run. Remember we talked about that? A fluted tie version. The reason I brought this one out instead of any of the other Natives that I have in my collection is that 2016 Spyderco is celebrating their 40th anniversary. They are going to have a sprint run, special release, 1,000 order of this, a Native. It's going to be the 40th anniversary Native. It will have a carbon fiber version of this fluted scales. Real carbon fiber, not the peel kind, carbon fiber. It'll have these ridges in it, and the blade will be a special Damascus blade. And on the blade, it'll have 40th anniversary. So they will update the Native with that sprint run 40th anniversary special knife. I can't wait to get it. With the carbon fiber fluted handles. Again, you can see this on the Spyderco SHOT Show 2016. There's a number of videos. Check it out. And then what Eric said was, after the sprint run is done, after they do that special release of the 1,000 special anniversary Native, they're going to go into production with a fluted Native with a satin blade. So the great thing is, if you can't put up the money for this fancy carbon fiber fluted handle with Damascus blade, they're going to go into a production with another version of the Native in 2016, and that will have the fluted carbon fiber but a regular blade. Oh, I love this knife. This was a surprise for me. I just saw one of the, there's about 3 or 4 Spyderco SHOT Show videos where they're showing knives. In each one, he doesn't show every single knife, but he always has a blockbuster of a brand new knife. This is the Butch Vallotton. If you've never held a Vallotton, oh man, you need to hold one. It is thick as unbelievable. This is on my top 10 list, the Vallotton of Spydercos, and I have several hundred Spydercos. This is so wonderful. It's so thick. It is a liner lock Spyderco. This has this very smooth, polished G10. It just feels like heaven. It has these steel bolsters. Look at this. Oh man, the pins on the side are really the stop pins. These 2 studs right here. It's really wonderful. I'm going to take a glance at, oh, it's S30V steel. Man, I'll tell you, this is great. It has this modified tanto blade. Butch Vallotton, of course, a custom maker, knife maker, designed this as a collaboration. In 2016, look at that. Oh man, it feels, look at the liners. They are skeletonized, but man, this is a beast. Let me tell you, it's a beast. So here's the deal. In 2016, this is going to be a long video, folks, because I'm going to love all these knives, and there are a bunch of knives I'm going to put in front of you. I'm sorry. You know, get as much as you can, pause it, then come back and watch more of it. But if you love Spydercos, I think you'll like this video. Butch Vallotton they are going to update the Butch Vallotton with a smaller Vallotton. It's still going to be heavy. It's still going to have the same pattern with the double bolsters and this polished G10. Oh, he held that thing, and I had a religious experience, I'll tell you. I don't know how many views are on the 3 or 4 different Spyderco shot shows, but about 25 of those views are from me watching it over and over and can't wait. It's going to be a smaller Vallotton. Looks like this, but a lot smaller. Can't wait. The thing about the Vallotton, and I love it, I play with it all the time, but man, it's a heavy carry. I just can't, I mean, there are a few knives that would force me to only carry one knife, and this would be it. So it rarely ends up in my pocket. And with that smaller one, it continues that whole Spyderco thing of getting thinner, lighter, and more pocketable knives out into the marketplace. Can't wait. Now, you all already know probably if you're a big Spyderco fan. If you're not, let me introduce you to the Gail Bradley. This is one of Spyderco's successful folders. Gail Bradley, another collaboration. He works with Spyderco a lot. This is his design for a folder. He's an award-winning knife maker. This is carbon fiber peel. It's on top of G10. It feels so nice. See how he does that? The carbon fiber is smaller than the liners. And you would think, oh man, I'm going to have all these hot spots. No, you don't. It's just nice. It's a beautiful construction. Liner lock. This right here, the Gail Bradley, has CPM M4 steel. Now here's the deal. M4 steel is a wonderful steel. It holds its edge very, very well. It has a lot of carbon in it, so it can rust. It's not a stainless steel kind of rust-proof, rust-resistant blade. So you have to take care of it. But man, this is beautiful. Again, one of the top 10 ones, right? Now that has happened late. I'm recording this in January 24th. I'm recording this in February 2016. So depending on when you see this, some of these references might be very old. But anyway, they did come out with an update after all those years to the Gail Bradley. This is the Gail Bradley 2, introducing the Gail Bradley 2. Same shape, but way thinner, way lighter, still with the CPM M4 blade, still a liner lock. Again, this is one of those updates of a very special knife. A couple of these updates I already have, so I want to show those, but we'll also talk about so we can caress some knives and go ooh and all. I'm going to slobber all over these knives because I really love them. I'm sure you can play the Keith, Kevin, Ken drinking game. Every time I say wonderful, take a shot. Every time I say beautiful, take a shot. Anyway, this is a wonderful, beautiful knife. We all know it. This is the Paramilitary. This is a little special one with the orange scales and a black blade. The Paramilitary is one of the special ones, a very popular, perfect EDC knife with that wonderful compression lock. See the compression lock, and look how that blade falls. It's so smooth. That is the Paramilitary. Remember the compression lock. What Spyderco is doing, they started at the end of 2015, and they're continuing it this year, this bluish purple handle, G10 handle, is representing them upgrading a lot of knives in their regular rotation. So this is the Paramilitary. They have the military. I think they're going to do, they haven't done it yet, I think the Native, a number of their regular, they may even do the Dragonfly, I'm not sure. What they're doing, and these are production knives. These are not the limited sprint runs. These are production knives. When you see these, people online have been calling them burple, blurple, this blue purple. What they are is they're updating a number of their line with S110V steel. Did you hear me? S110V steel. So we're talking about some of the best premium steel you could think of. S110 steel, and it's not a sprint run. Usually Spyderco would go that high with those kind of materials in a sprint run. This is a regular production. I have got to hunt down these Blurple handle upgrades, and so should you. Great steel at a decent price, actually. Burple. You look at the updates, a lot are coming with native, with the military, and a whole bunch of other things in the Spyderco run. Now, a couple of the updates, let me go to another one that has already been updated. And I don't know if you're familiar with this. This was a new Spyderco just about a year ago. It's the PITS, P-I-T-S. It stands for Pie in the Sky. It was created by, and his name escapes me, a British knife maker. It's a wonderful knife. You would think it's a lock, right? A lock knife, because watch this. Let me, there's a reason why I'm doing, there we go. Almost got cut there. So this is the PITS. Listen to this. Feels like it's locking, right? Well, remember I said it's a British knife maker? In Britain, they don't like locking knives. This actually is a slip joint knife. But what he wanted to do was the strongest, he came to Spyderco and said, let's do a real strong slip joint knife. That's a non-locking knife. This is not a lock. What it is a very strong back spring. So you actually don't even have to lift this up. You do this, see how it broke without me breaking a lock, and then it goes down. I always use two hands for this because it's so strong, it's hard to release with just one like this. That's good for a slip joint, folks. It's a very strong slip joint. It is, look at that. Pie in the Sky, it's legal everywhere internationally, except in a couple of places like Denmark, where you're not allowed to have a one-hand opening knife nor a locking knife. In this case, with the Spyderco, you can do a one-hand opener. They just upgraded this thing right before New Year's, right before January 2016. I was stunned because that just came out last year. By the way, that's all full tie. So is this, but it's anodized blue. It's Italian made. They work with an Italian person to put it together, and so it has Italian steel. Oh man, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Again, one of the strongest slip joint knives I've ever messed with. At some point we'll do a mini collection of slip joint knives from Spyderco. They're really good at protecting your fingers. This is wonderful. It is not locking, but that is a wonderful design. It's beautiful design, lightweight. Because of all those holes, the entire knife is skeletonized. Great tie, wonderful Italian steel, and non-locking, so it's legal in a lot of places. I wanted to start with that so I can talk about one of the biggest surprise announcements. Well, one of the two biggest surprise announcements from SHOT Show that came from Eric. I don't know if you're familiar with these. These have been discontinued for some time. This is called the ATR. That's why I wanted to lead with this new knife. In this case, this is a locking knife. Remember we talked about the compression lock on the Paramilitary? This is almost like a compression lock, but really what it is a frame lock. It's a back frame lock. It's really nice. Listen to this. Oh, this is a wonderful knife. Now, this has come out with two versions. One, stainless steel. This is the stainless steel. Three versions. Stainless steel, not tie. There is a tie version, but man, every time I see those available in the aftermarket, they're way too expensive for me. I'm hoping to get a tie one at some point. But here you go. Oh man, is that beautiful? They have what Spyderco calls the Cobra hood. So there's jimping there, but also you see it has that little cobra, looks like a cobra head. And the reason they have that, it's very smooth knives too. is so when you get that purchase right here, it's jimping, but also it just gives you more, especially with fat hands like mine, more purchase. It also helps you to flip this over. Your finger doesn't have to go in the hole. It's really a nice open. That is the ATR at the ready. It has been discontinued for so long. Now, here's the black version. I tell you, I fell in love with this. I found this. I didn't even know they existed, and then I found it. That's the great thing about collecting Spydercos. That happens a lot, by the way. And that's why I'm going to be posting a lot of mini collections here and showing you a bunch of knives. Not only Spyderco, but Chris Reeve knives, because I've watched these videos on YouTube and I said, what? I didn't know that exists, and then hunted it down. So hopefully you'll be educated about some of these different versions by looking at my collection. This is the black version of the ATR. Now, the surprise announcement from Eric is they're coming back with an ATR. I can't believe it. So a new version of the ATR has all of the things, including the Cobra hood. Looks like this. I'm not sure if it's a little smaller. I can't wait. That's going to be in the second half of this year. So if you haven't been able to catch an ATR, and they're hard to find in the second marketplace, get ready, because Spyderco is going to give you one. They're going to make it available. It's not a sprint run. I don't believe it's a sprint run. I don't know. But get ready for an ATR. You'll be able to own your own, and I'll be able to complete my collection. Of course, you probably already know, this is the very first flipper from Spyderco. It is the Spyderco Southern. That was the first one. Then they came out because a lot of people said, oh, that brown G10 is too grippy and ugly. And then they released, oh man, this is one of my top 10 knives. I know, sounds like I have 30 top 10 knives, right? But this is really nice. The Southern Flipper is a wonderful Spyderco product. It's not as grippy. It's a blacked out version of the Southern. It has that titanium back with the Chris Reeve integral lock. It's just wonderful. See, I just opened it. The Spyderco hole, you can open it like that as well. Why? It's a flipper. It's very nice. Well, they actually did, again, 2016 January, they updated it. This is the Southern Flipper, the new version of the Southern Flipper. In this case, it's called the Positron. It's by Brad Southern. You can tell the difference, a lot smaller. Look at that. They have that, my famous wire clip. Remember I told you they're going to get smaller and lighter? I'm seeing my wire clip in a lot of different places now as well. It flips like a dream. Look at the flipper tab, how small it is, how light. This is all carbon, real carbon fiber, no liners. It's just, man. Again, I was surprised when they came out with that. It was so light. I was expecting, when they said a Southern was coming, I was just as happy as I am when they said an ATR is a new ATR, or a new Butch Vallotton. Are you kidding me? It's coming my way. I got real excited. When I got it in the mail, I went, huh? This is too light. I'm expecting this hefty Southern. But I've already carried this several times. This is always one of those knives I play with all the time when I'm at home and consider carrying it but never get around. Oh man, I grew to love this knife. It is not like the original. It is not a frame lock. It is, I expected a frame lock. It's a liner lock knife, but man, it's so light with that carbon fiber. It's a wonderful flipper, really a wonderful flipper. In that case, the Spyderco hole is just branding. You can't open it. You have to flip it. Now, this is another surprise. These last couple of knives represent two major surprises. I had to get up and get a drink after seeing Eric talk about these. You remember that? My goodness. We just got this knife. It just came out last year, remember? Everyone, the collaboration from Keri, everyone, high anticipation. It was a little delayed coming out. That wonderful molded carbon fiber, real carbon fiber, the orange highlights, the orange G10 on the back, the collar, that wonderful blade. A lot of people were disappointed because of the high cost. But, you know, first you're disappointed because they do peel ply carbon fiber to cut down costs. Then you're upset because they have quality kinds of materials and it costs. Look, sometimes I complain about the cost of their knives too. But man, I really like this. With, again, custom to this knife. Not a custom, but custom to this knife, again, the blade. Well, guess what? He showed on this YouTube video. They're coming out with a new one already. This just came out, recognizing what their fans, they listened to their fans, that it was too expensive. So what he's doing is, it's a different, I forget if it's G10 or not. The materials are different. This is S30V steel. The new one will be. It's a little flatter. It's not as molded. It's a better carry, I think. So get ready for an updated version already. This isn't even a year old, and they're going to have an updated version. So that's going to be updated this year. That's not in that catalog, but it'll be updated. And then here was one of the biggest surprises ever. You all know the Sage series. Sage 1. They all look alike, but they're celebrating knife makers and their contributions to the locking knife. In this case, it's the liner lock. Can you see that? I told you the desk was going to get messy. The liner lock, that's one. Here's two, the titanium. And this is Chris Reeve's integral lock. That's the lock that it's representing. And so there you go there. Sage 3, the original blue, representing this lock, which is one of my favorites. You usually see that lock on the Manix. And then this was the carbon fiber version. That's Sage 3. You know what? We'll just lay that here. Sage 3. I post a lot of pages on Instagram. By the way, the Instagram is @KeithKevinKen. And I have this thing where I talk about the messy desk. I take pictures of the desk after I played with a bunch of knives. This is the ultimate messy desk, right? Spyderco knives that will be updated, have been updated this year or will be updated later this year. I think this is a different way of going through the Spyderco new catalog. This, of course, is the Sage 4. Very few people bought the Sage 4 with its Arizona ironwood and the titanium bolster. This represents the back lock. I actually like this. This has been discontinued. So the funny thing is, the most unpopular Sage, Sage 4, will probably become the most expensive Sage as things go by. The reason I talked about the Sage, though, they're updating it. Yes, there will be a Sage 5 coming out, and the Sage 5, same exact configuration, S30V steel with that Spyderco leaf blade, with that wonderful 50-50 chortle, and it will be representing, guess which lock? The compression lock. Yes, we're going to get a Sage, which we can argue about it, but I think is one of the most perfect EDC knife series ever. And it's going to have this lock, the Paramilitary 2 lock. Can you imagine? Paramilitary 2 and a Sage 5, both with the compression lock. Heavy duty lock. Butter. Really as smooth as butter. There you go. Told you it was long, but hey, listen. If you average the time per knife that's on the desk, short each knife. Hey, this is Keith Kevin Ken. Thank you very much for putting in about a half hour with me. I'm really excited about the new season of Spyderco. And if you get the catalog or see the catalog, you can download it. A lot of the knives I talked about isn't in this catalog. Some of them will be in the mid-year catalog, and some of them are surprises that I just ruined for you. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. Have a perfect day. I appreciate you giving me so much of your valuable time. You have a nice one. Hey, thumbs this up. Please subscribe. I'm trying to build an audience on YouTube so we can just talk and fondle knives together. Thank you very much. Have a good one. This is Kevin from Keith Kevin Ken. Bye.